Hey there, happy Sunday. It's July 5th. I am Storm Tracker meteorologist Alexis Clemens with NBC Connecticut in our weather lab. The time is 10:22 this morning, and it's been busy the last about 12 to 24 hours with the storms yesterday, and we have a lot to talk about with the rain that is on the way. So I figured we would jump on here and discuss what's happened and what's on the way, and everybody jump in and we can kind of have a nice discussion here. But I did want to kind of start with some of the reports that we saw here because there were a lot of them across much of the state. It looks like, though, it looks like all of Tolland and Windham counties did kind of miss out on the worst of this storm. What I really was monitoring were these really large hail reports that came in from Bristol, that came in from Terryville, New Britain. Very, very, very large hail. And I'll show you a photo of what some people have sent in here in just a second, but also a lot of downed trees. And that stretches from Salisbury all the way down to Stonington there, that line of downed trees, down power lines. I think power is getting restored, but it's taken a while. Some areas were in the dark for a little while last night. So very, very significant storms here. I wanted to show you this photo of baseball. This is technically the size of a baseball, even though it's not going to look like it here. This was sent to us from Ryan and Bristol. A hailstone, I mean, from one edge to another, that is 3 inches. Now, of course, it's not a perfect circle. If it was, though, that'd be about the size of a baseball. That is incredibly damaging. And this is a look at kind of some of the hail reports that we've seen. I saw one in Terryville as well. Some really significant hail there. Here's another thing from Bristol that Nancy sent us there. You can see the car buried under those trees. Unfortunate there. And there's going to be a lot of damage. I'm sure insurance claims have already been filed by a lot of people because of the hail and the down tree. We had a lot of scenes just like this. And I'll go ahead and show you this one. I kind of thought this was the same picture at first, but no, it is a different city as it slowly populates in there. Yeah, Harwinton, similar car, and unfortunately similar damage. Look at that. I'm just glad that nobody was in there, hopefully. I mean, you can see the windshield just completely bashed in that tree coming over the top of it. So really difficult here. And here is another photo that we have gotten for you. This is in Burlington, and that tree just completely uprooted. You could even see at the bottom left of your screen there, parts of the concrete, the driveway has been uplifted as well. So a very significant storm yesterday. I mean, it was incredibly, incredibly damaging. I think some rainfall totals that I saw in here, I'll go ahead and populate those in here as well. Some rainfall totals, the worst of it seemed to be in the Bristol area, over 2 inches, potentially even up to 3 inches of rainfall, a little over 2 inches in Berlin, 1 3/4 roughly in the Oakville area near Waterbury, 1.37 inches in East Hampton, and about 1.25 inches in Torrington. So really hefty rainfall totals as well for a lot of folks. Unless you're in the northeastern corner, you kind of missed out on this one, but we've got plenty more chances for rain very soon. I want to show you this map here, our weather alerts. That is a green. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you here. So it's basically from Connecticut all the way down through the Philadelphia region here. It potentially could even be extended a little bit more in either direction up towards Massachusetts and down towards Maryland here. But if that's a flood watch that is in effect, because we're expecting a lot of rain in a rather short amount of time, and that's going to start up this afternoon and really stick with us through Tuesday. So let me go ahead and go over here, just zooming into Connecticut. It's all of the states under a flood watch right now. You will notice, though, it's currently not in Rhode Island and not in Massachusetts. We do expect kind of a band of heavy rain to set up. And the question still is, where exactly is that going to be? I do think it happens at somewhere either here or towards the New York City region here, but we're not really expecting as much of a threat up in Boston at this point. So it will kind of be a big range, a big variety in rainfall totals the further north that you go. But I do want to kind of walk you through this here because it's a very, very interesting setup, because we're talking 2 to 4 inches of rainfall widespread. That's quite a bit of rain already. And if we can spread that out from this afternoon through like Tuesday afternoon, a nice 48-hour period, that's okay. However, we saw a lot of rain yesterday in a lot of areas, like the Naugatuck River, Connecticut River, even as well, things like that. Farmington River probably is going to be very high. But the concern is that this is a system that is going to stall. And stalling is a little scary, just because if we can get a heavy band of rain over one area, that is going to very quickly accumulate. And it's very hard to pinpoint exactly where that will happen. So that's why the entire state is under a flood watch. But you can see kind of some pinks in there that our models are trying to put together here. I do think some areas could see upwards of 6 inches of rain, potentially even more than that, if this storm can put itself together. So that's going to be why it's extremely crucial to monitor the radar tomorrow. Our NBC Connecticut app literally has a look at, if you just turn on your location, it'll send you notifications when warnings, or when rain is on the way, when warnings are issued, things like that. I'm just going to check to make sure I'm not missing any comments from all of you guys on all of our platforms. But yeah, just a really significant system. And in a huge, a lot of rain that is on the way. So, and yeah, I know everybody's probably thinking, we got a drought. We need the rain, right? Too much too quickly can be a concern, most definitely. So going to be really something to pay attention to, for sure. I'm just making sure I am not missing any comments from all of you, because feel free to let us know what you've seen with the storms, if you have any questions going forward. And I'll talk about timing here in just a second. I'm just trying to make sure that we are all good. Okay, yeah, looks like we're good. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about timing a little bit. Let me go back here. So we can see a couple of showers kind of form here and there. And actually, I'll go ahead and go back to current satellite and radar. Things are dry at the moment. And I want to zoom out and just show you how interesting this setup is. You don't really see much, right? Typically, when we're going to be tracking a lot of rain, you see the system rolling towards you, right? Well, you see a little bit of rain over towards like the Detroit, Michigan area. All of that right there is along a boundary. And here, I'll kind of just point it out for you. I can even draw it as well. Let me grab this. So basically from like right here in southern New England, all the way kind of up through this region here, this latitude towards over Chicago as well. This is where a boundary is going to set up. And basically what it's going to do is this afternoon, we kind of see a lot of energy come in from the atmosphere, and it's going to be able to fire up some showers. The concern, though, is that it's just going to continue to fire up showers in the same locations here in the Northeast. So that's Connecticut, down towards New York, down towards Philadelphia, maybe even into the DC region as well. So this is quite a system here. And I want to go ahead and just kind of track it out for you. We can see a couple of showers start to, move in by the afternoon hours, but I do think the worst of the rain arrives later on this evening and into the overnight hours here. And once that rain starts up widespread, it's going to stick around for a while. I don't see much dry time once rain starts back up this afternoon and evening. I don't see much dry time through tomorrow, not really until about Tuesday. Monday is a soggy day out there. I think that's when most of our rain is going to pile up as we go through the start of the week. And you can even see here a couple of thunderstorms possible as well. We are not expecting severe weather, though, at least nothing like what we saw yesterday. I could see a couple of storms, trying to produce some stronger conditions here and there. But I think it would just be some gusty winds, frequent lightning, and I think heavy rain is going to be our biggest concern. So our severe weather threat is much, much, much lower than it was yesterday. But I do think we can get a couple little storms going later on this afternoon and evening. Again, it would just be some very heavy rain very quickly. But like I said, also, once the rain starts, it's going to stick around for a while. I did not mean to click ahead to that, but again, just showing you the 2 to 4 inches of that rainfall that's expected statewide. Yes, that's a good thing for the drought. However, things to keep in mind. Our ground's not really saturated. It's hard. Our ground doesn't really know how to react to all of that rain. It won't be able to keep up and soak it in as quickly as it's falling, and that's going to be a big concern. Also, that much rain in a short amount of time, a big issue as well. So something we're going to have to watch very closely. So again, just kind of stepping through here with the rain. Let me go ahead and see if anybody has any questions. People are talking about climate change. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, climate change, for sure, like, you're going to see a lot more heavy rainfall events, right? From what somebody explained it best the other day, from one extreme to the other, right? Extreme heat to extreme rainfall. That's what we're seeing more and more often. And that's definitely something that we are paying attention to and reporting on quite a bit. About what time this afternoon can we expect the rain to enter the state? I think anytime between about 4 and 7 p.m. is what we are thinking about. And yeah, again, somebody also said we're dry for weeks and then heavy rain, right? We're in a drought right now, right? That's tough. And I mean, you know what they say? It's like when it rains, it pours, right? It's kind of the trend that we're on, right? With super, super hot weather. I mean, then, we were super dry and now we're dealing with a lot of rain. If only we could spread it out for a while, but unfortunately that's just not kind of how it's working, at least in our favor this time, and that might be the trend going forward. But you can see quite a bit of rain here. As for that timing there, yeah, I'm thinking between about 4 and 7 p.m., you start to see those showers build back in the region this afternoon and evening. And like I said, once it starts, it's going to stick around. So as we were talking about this morning, if you have any travel to do, it's a big, it's a holiday weekend. If you have any errands to run, if you have cleanup to do, right? That is going to be you're going to want to do that now before that rain settles in this afternoon and evening. So here's this rain here, and you can see it. I mean, it gets heavy as well, and it's almost just like it just keeps building and building and building. It's not really moving away, right? Kind of just stalling on top of us here, and we'll track that rain as we go through Monday. Tuesday, it does start to see, it's starting to look like we're going to dry out a little bit quicker on Tuesday. So that's the newest trend that we are monitoring here. So I think we start with rain on Tuesday, but then as we go through the day, we do start to dry out. So that could be good for us, but because originally I'm thinking this is going to be a 48-hour heavy rain event, which could be really tricky. But Monday, definitely soggy. I do think Tuesday starts off rainy as well, and then we'll start to dry out. But like I said, 2 to 4 inches of this rain kind of expected across the region here, that's widespread, across the state, but I do think a couple of towns will come in a little bit higher than that. And let me see if I can go ahead and grab my little pointer again as well. I want to show you, this is from yesterday. Look at this right here. You can kind of see this storm. I mean, it produced some pretty heavy rain. It went through Bristol and then even down towards like southeastern Connecticut as well into Stonington. That was an extremely strong storm that produced those really large hailstones that you might have seen pictures of as well. There's also been reports of some really nasty looking clouds out there as well. Somebody said that it looked like a tornado. From pictures I've seen, I don't think it was. Just kind of looked like a really scary looking cloud that was hanging. The pictures looked incriminating for sure. I don't think there was any rotation involved. But of course, if there was, the National Weather Service would do a survey on that. But from what I've seen, it's just kind of straight line winds and just some really hefty rain. And yeah, I mean, those winds, I think we saw a couple of wind gusts over 60 miles an hour. I mean, that's going to knock down some trees, right, and create some damage there as well. Somebody said Danbury, 0 inches of rain. I think that rain gauge just isn't set up, so I wouldn't look at that number there. All the rest of them look okay. I think Danbury, I think I saw numbers of, actually, let me look if I wrote it down. I think it was over an inch and a half. Yeah, don't look at the Danbury one. That one's just not populating in here, unfortunately. But yeah, I would say Danbury definitely over an inch of rain, if not even a little bit more. I think the highest I saw was about 2 3/4 of an inch in Bristol. So quite a bit of that rainfall there. Let's go ahead and see. I also want to talk about the temps because it gets a lot cooler. So the heat's done. We're done with our 5-day heat wave. But now we're talking about much cooler conditions. I mean, I kind of want to break out the jacket tomorrow with highs in the low 70s there for Monday and Tuesday. Somebody said Torrington was hit hard. It definitely looks like it. I don't have it on here, but I know on our website or on our news this morning, we showed a photo that was sent in to us. It was the North End Fire Station, trees just down on top of the station. Thankfully, it's made of brick, so it was mostly doing okay. But yeah, really, really tough for sure. Somebody said Northern Danbury got 2 inches of rain and a lot of strong winds last night. I believe it. I definitely believe it there. And we really appreciate all of the rainfall totals that you sent us from your rain gauge, from any of your photos or videos that you send of the storms, of the clouds. It also, I mean, as meteorologists, we can't be everywhere at once, right? And as we all know, it can be very different in one town than it was for another. I was in Hartford last night. Yes, it was stormy, but obviously not nearly as bad as it was in Bristol. So we appreciate all of your reports all across the state, and you can email us, share it at nbcconnecticut.com. And sometimes we'll also give that to the National Weather Service as well. And it helps them, figure out what happened and what kind of damage was done and what needs to be done going forward. So we really appreciate all of your reports. But that rain is really going to cool things down. So we're done with the heat. At least we can say that we're done with one extreme, but now we've got to deal with this rain. But yeah, I mean, it's going to kind of feel like fall Monday and Tuesday with I think a lot of temperatures are going to just top out in the 60s, much cooler Monday and Tuesday. They're very, very rainy. We will start to warm up a little bit more, at least more seasonable by the end of the week. If anybody has any questions, of course, feel free to ask them. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I missed that we need to go over. I'll kind of also go over the hour by hour forecast as well through the rest of the day. Sorry, fireworks kept me up last night. When will the peak part of this next storm causing the flood watch to hit? Will Simsbury be affected heavily? Simsbury definitely going to see quite a bit of rain from this system. We kind of expect the peak of the storm to move in later tonight, really into tomorrow morning and during the midday hours. So I know a lot of people might be heading back to work after a long holiday weekend tomorrow. And that is when, the storms are going to really start to build back in. And you'll notice here on today's forecast, hour by hour, by about the 4 or 5 p.m. hour, the chance for a couple of storms, but there's definitely not as much energy today in the atmosphere to work with like there was yesterday. Those storms fired up and they just obviously had a lot to work with there. A couple of rumbles of thunder are possible this afternoon and evening, but it's mostly just a nice rain that we should see for a while. The concern, though, is that some of that heavy rain will stall over certain regions. So we're going to be watching that extremely closely as it moves in. I do expect the worst of the rain to come late tonight, really into early tomorrow, and through much of Monday. So that seems to be the worst of it. Our flood watch, I don't think officially goes into effect until like 2 a.m., so heading into Monday, I do expect the worst of it to come from Monday morning into kind of the early afternoon hours. I know we need the rain, but hopefully not too much like a couple of years ago. I know, of course, I'm a little concerned about, again, it all depends on where the heavy bands of rain stall. So we're hoping that does not happen, but we need to be prepared in case it does, and we'll keep you updated there. When it rains, it pours, and we're going to be watching that very closely. Somebody was asking, and this is actually a good question because a lot of people sent in some reports to us. Somebody asked, was it a tornado that hit Torrington? Bark from trees were blown off as trees split. Here's one look. This is Burlington specifically. But people were asking, yeah, we had reports and we had pictures. I don't have them here, unfortunately, but they are I think they're on our website, on our social media, and we showed them on air this morning. Yeah, it looked like trees just kind of split. That could be one of a couple things. I think most likely what happened was lightning. Lightning can easily snap trees like that, and very, very quickly. It's very tough. I've seen pictures of kind of those interesting clouds, and I don't have it here. Nobody sent it to me specifically, but I've seen pictures of people are like, was this a tornado? I don't think so. Based on what I've seen, and I've been doing this for a while, it doesn't look like it. We were seeing rotation there. It did look very ominous, very scary, and it was a very strong storm. But I think it was mainly just straight line winds. And I mean, with trees, tree damage is interesting because it depends on a lot of things, but one of the big things is the age of the tree, right? An older tree is more likely to fall. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. I think if you're seeing a tree that's split like that, there are a couple different factors. I think lightning could be a factor. Also, if wind blows one branch, it can kind of try to split the trunk a little bit. So, yeah, definitely. I don't think we saw a tornado last night. Of course, National Weather Service would survey it if they thought that there was something like that. But based on what I've seen, I don't think that happened. But I mean, I think that also just goes to show you don't need one for that kind of damage to happen, because these were extremely strong winds, extremely strong storms. The hail was really tough as well. But these are great questions. I mean, we've got to have this conversation, right? And we've got to figure out what happened. And the way that us and the National Weather Service really think about it too, is just really, we've got to talk it through for sure. Yeah. So it's just a really, really strong cluster of storms for sure. If anybody else has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will kind of start to wrap it up. We are expecting rain to build back into the region here by the afternoon. I'm going to see if I can show you anything else. There's one model I want to show you as well because I thought I did a good job. Let me find it for you, and then I'll let everybody go. I hope everybody had a good 4th. I know probably ended a bit earlier than we wanted it to, right? But hopefully everybody's safe, and that's the most important part for sure. And as this populates in, we've got rain kind of moving back into the region again this afternoon. So again, if you're out and about today, if you have travel, errands to run, between now and about, let's say 4 or 5 o'clock, that's when to do it, because it'll be drier, at least during that time, maybe a couple sprinkles here and there. But a couple of storms building back into the region after about 4 o'clock or so. Yeah, we could see a couple of thunderstorms, but like I said, they should not be nearly as destructive as the ones yesterday. I mean, but a couple could, produce some really heavy rain, some frequent lightning, and some stronger winds, but nothing like the damage we saw yesterday. But once that rain moves back in this afternoon and evening, it is going to stick around for a while. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. So here it is. Yeah, you can see kind of it moves on through and just continues to build through the region. A nice steady rain becoming heavy at times through Monday. I do think we start to dry out on Tuesday. Tuesday's trending a little bit drier, which would be good for us. We don't want all of that rain to fall over that time period, but I do still think we see a couple of showers through Tuesday. Of course, these showers tomorrow as well, starting this afternoon. I'll go ahead and leave you with the 10-day forecast, because big changes, right? We hit 100 degrees last week, and now we're talking about temps potentially in the 60s tomorrow all day long. So that's a huge change, right? So yeah, rain starts back up this afternoon, likely after about 4 p.m. We'll track that through tonight, through Monday night, and into Tuesday. Then we start to dry out. Wednesday looks fantastic. Thursday, a little bit warmer there, and maybe a little humid as well. Rain chances back in the region by the end of the week. But you'll notice by the end of the 10-day forecast, finally some more seasonable conditions, right? Just the low to mid 80s, which is average for this time of year. And that's what we can kind of look forward to after this more active stretch, right? A very hot start to July, what will likely be a very wet start to July as well. Hopefully we can kind of even it out by the middle of the month. So I'll go ahead and leave it at that. Let me see if I remember how to do this. There we go. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope everybody's safe. Let us know what we can do to help. We're just trying to, bring awareness so that everybody can clean up after the storms yesterday and prepare ahead for the next round of showers, and they could be very heavy. So I do recommend, if you're able to clean up, run errands, travel, I'd recommend doing so before that rain starts up this afternoon. Maybe get it all done before the World Cup games, I believe, 4 p.m., right? Norway and Brazil. That'll be a good one. I'm looking forward to watching that one. So we hope you all enjoy your Sunday. We will be here informing you of the latest as we go through the rest of today, Monday and Tuesday, with this very heavy rain. Monday will likely be a busy day here in the weather department because of that rainfall. We're just hoping that heavy bands don't stall over certain areas, which unfortunately is possible here. You can't really pinpoint where that's going to happen until it does. So it's just important for all of the states to be prepared, and we'll keep you updated, of course. So have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.